Okay, so you know that feeling, right? Like information's coming at you from every direction.
Oh, yeah.
You're trying to keep up, but you just feel like you're always behind the curve.
Absolutely.
What if there was a way to cut through all the noise and get right to the good stuff?
Yeah.
Like the real insights.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's kind of what we do here, right? On the deep dive.
I like it.
Think of us as your own personal research team.
Yeah.
We go out and do the digging.
Yeah.
And then we come back and give you just like the pure gold.
That's a great analogy.
And today, we're diving into Prateek's Beyond the Code newsletter.
Fourth edition.
Fourth edition.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
packed with so much stuff on AI and cloud computing,
Yeah.
software engineering,
Mhm.
system design.
Plot in there.
Like it is a lot to process.
Definitely.
So our mission today is to pull out the biggest takeaways from this newsletter
Right.
and give you those aha moments, those light bulb moments.
Hopefully.
All right, so let's jump right in. One of the things that really caught my eye was this idea of people saying, "Oh, it's just a wrapper," when talking about AI development.
Yeah. I see that a lot.
Like, what's really going on there?
Well, the newsletter kind of pushes back on this idea.
Okay.
And it says the real magic in AI
Yeah.
is kind of like an art.
Okay.
It's about how you combine and use those basic elements,
Right.
not just about having like the fanciest new materials.
I see.
You think about like a violin.
Yeah.
It's really just wood and strings, right?
Yeah.
Or a novel
Yeah.
that's just ink on paper
Mm.
and a painting that's just pigment on canvas.
Hmm.
So the ingredients are simple.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
what you do with them that matters.
Right. So they're taking those basic things and arranging them
Exactly.
with intention and skill
And skill.
to create something much bigger.
Exactly.
That's so interesting because I feel like we get that in creative fields. But the newsletter asks, why are we so quick to dismiss AI that's built on top of existing stuff as just a wrapper?
Right.
Like, why do we undervalue that?
It's a good question.
Yeah.
It's like we're shifting our focus. We're
Mhm.
not just valuing the newness of the technology.
Yeah.
We're looking at the ingenuity in how it's put together.
Right.
It's about creating a good user experience
Yeah.
and getting results,
Yeah.
whether you built it all yourself or not.
Okay, so it's more about the execution
Right.
than just like the brand new, shiny new tools.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
And it reminds me of some of the examples in the newsletter.
Oh, yeah.
Like technologies that basically took existing stuff
Right.
and just rearranged it really well.
Rearranged it beautifully.
And it totally changed the game.
Yeah.
Like the iPhone
A great example.
didn't necessarily introduce a ton of new tech, but the way it all came together.
Yeah.
The user interface, that was revolutionary.
Totally. Or
Yeah.
Canva.
Took existing design principles and tools and made them easy for everyone to use.
Democratized design.
Totally. And of
That's
course,
right.
ChatGPT,
Huge.
yeah, it's based on an LLM, right?
Right. One of those large language models.
Yeah. But it's so impactful because it
Mhm.
made AI easy to interact with for everyday people.
Yeah. The usability is key.
Totally.
It wrapped that complex technology in something really user-friendly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I guess the takeaway here is if you're building something new, especially with AI,
Mm-hmm.
don't get hung up on the idea that you have to invent every single piece.
Yeah.
Your value is in your vision, your execution,
Exactly.
and the overall experience you create.
It's more than just a wrapper.
It's more than just a wrapper.
Yeah.
Okay, I love that.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this chat with your cloud thing.
Oh, yeah. This is cool.
It sounds like it could be a game changer.
It really does.
Tell me more.
Okay, so it's a feature being developed at Gannett AI Labs.
Okay.
And it basically lets you talk to your cloud infrastructure.
Like actually talk to it.
Yeah, like you could ask it questions
Right.
and get answers.
So instead of like digging through dashboards or writing code,
Exactly.
I can just ask my cloud what's going on.
That's the idea.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
What kind of questions could I ask?
Well, the newsletter gives some examples.
Okay.
Like, what virtual machines have public access?
Okay.
What ports are open?
Mm-hmm.
Are my databases encrypted?
Yeah.
Are there any storage accounts that are publicly accessible?
That's amazing.
Yeah, so you could literally say to your cloud, what's exposed?
Wow.
And it would tell you.
That would be huge.
Right. It would save so much time.
And I wouldn't need to be a cloud expert to understand it.
That's right.
It would make cloud management so much easier.
Exactly.
Now, I'm sure some people are wondering,
Mm-hmm.
how is this different from Azure Copilot?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
So they both aim to make interacting with cloud resources easier,
Okay.
but chat with your cloud has a few key differences. First, it's designed to be cloud agnostic from the start.
Right. Mean.
meaning it can work with different cloud platforms.
Oh, okay.
So right now it supports Azure,
Oh,
but they're planning to add AWS and GCP soon.
that's really important for companies that use multiple clouds.
It is.
So it's not tied to just one vendor.
Nope.
What else makes it different?
Well, the newsletter says it's also more accurate
Okay.
because it has deeper integrations with the cloud platforms.
So it can pull data from more sources,
Exactly.
and it can even outperform Azure Resource Graph.
That's what the newsletter suggests.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, what else?
And maybe the biggest difference is that it's designed for all-in-one visibility.
Okay.
So you can get automated topology diagrams,
Awesome.
security insights,
Mhm.
real-time monitoring,
All through this conversational interface.
all in one place.
That's really impressive.
It is.
It sounds like they're really trying to simplify cloud management.
And make it accessible to more people.
Yeah.
The newsletter mentions a waiting list on ganac.ai if you want to learn more.
Okay, I'll definitely check that out.
Cool.
So basically, it's all about less clutter,
Right.
more clarity,
Mm-hmm.
and getting answers without writing code.
Exactly.
It's awesome.
Yeah. I'm excited to see where it goes.
Me too. Okay, so now let's shift gears a bit
All right.
from practical cloud stuff to something a little more theoretical.
Okay.
Understanding how AI models think.
Fascinating stuff.
Yeah, this deep dive into Claude 3.5's thought patterns is super interesting.
Yeah. Anthropic has released some new tools
Yeah.
that let us see inside their Claude 3.5 haiku model.
Like really see how it works.
Yeah. They're calling it unprecedented visibility.
Wow, so what are we learning? The
Well,
newsletter mentions some pretty wild findings.
yeah, like multilingual conceptual understanding.
Okay, what's that?
So Claude represents abstract ideas, like
Mhm.
small,
Yeah.
in a similar way across different languages,
Really?
like English,
Mhm.
French, Chinese.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it suggests a deeper understanding that goes beyond just translating words.
So it's not just word for word.
Right.
It's understanding the concept behind the word.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
And this enables something called multilingual transfer learning.
Okay, with that.
So basically, knowledge gained in one language
Mm-hmm.
can be applied in another.
Wow, that's powerful.
It is.
Okay, what else are we learning?
Well, there's this thing called poetic planning.
Poetic planning.
Yeah, so apparently Claude can anticipate rhyme schemes.
Before it even writes the poem.
Yeah, and it can adjust the endings of lines to fit the scheme.
So it's not just generating words one after the other. It's
Oh,
actually
yeah.
thinking ahead.
Planning things out.
That's critical.
Yeah, it's not what you'd expect from an AI.
Not at all.
Yeah.
So what about more logical tasks?
Okay, well, they found that Claude uses parallel math circuits.
Parallel math circuit.
Yeah, so basically it can do math using these circuits that handle both estimation and precise digit calculation.
Okay.
And this is different from how it might explain the steps to solve a problem.
Interesting.
So the internal processing isn't always a direct reflection of its explanations.
It's kind of trippy.
It is.
But it's really important for us to understand that.
Absolutely.
So we can build trust in AI.
And know its limitations.
Right, because if its internal logic is different from its explanation,
Yeah.
how can we be sure it's reliable?
Exactly.
And that leads us to another finding,
Mm-hmm.
detecting logical fabrications.
Oh, yeah.
So these tools can actually tell us when Claude's verbal justifications don't match up with its internal reasoning.
Yeah, that's huge for AI auditing.
So we can make sure these models are operating logically.
Exactly.
So it can basically fact check itself.
In a way, yeah.
That's a big step forward in AI dependability.
It is.
Okay, so what about more general reasoning and problem solving?
Well, they've observed these flexible reasoning chains.
Flexible reasoning chains.
Yeah, so Claude can basically connect different concepts. Sure.
In a flexible way,
So it's not just following a set of rules.
Right.
It can adapt its reasoning.
based on the context.
That's really impressive.
It is.
And what about hallucinations?
Yes. So they found that hallucinations,
Which are basically when the AI makes stuff up.
exactly,
Right.
often come from misfired circuits
Okay.
related to known concepts.
Interesting.
And they can actually manipulate these circuits.
Really?
Yeah, to try to understand and fix those hallucinations.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so we're getting closer to being able to pinpoint the source of those errors.
That's so cool.
It is.
Okay, and then there's this thing about jailbreak mechanics.
Right.
That sounds kind of scary.
Well, it's more about understanding how safety measures can be bypassed.
Okay.
So the example they give is using a nonsensical phrase,
Like what?
like babies outlive mustard block.
Okay.
And this can temporarily disable the AI's safety constraints.
Until it makes sense again.
Exactly.
Wow. So it's a delicate balance between safety and functionality? It really is.
So all these tools are giving us a whole new level of insight into how AI works.
Yeah, we're really starting to understand how these complex models think.
That's exciting.
It is.
The newsletter mentions Anthropic's blog and research papers if you want to learn more.
Yep, they even mentioned some specific titles.
Right.
Attribution graphs in biology and attribution methods.
Cool. And there's a demo video too, right?
Yeah, for visual learners.
Perfect. Okay. So let's move on to something a little more down to earth.
Sounds good.
Weekend productivity.
Ah, yes.
The newsletter makes a really compelling case for using our weekends wisely.
It does.
It starts by reframing how we think about the weekend.
Okay.
Not just as time off,
Right.
but as a big chunk of our week.
Like 30% of our waking hours?
Wow, 30%.
That's right.
That's a lot of time.
It is.
The newsletter calls it where your edge lives
I like that.
and where momentum compounds.
Yeah. So while a lot of people are taking a break from their goals, you can get ahead.
By working on those goals.
Exactly.
It's so easy to just veg out on the weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Binge watch shows,
Yeah.
scroll through social media.
Totally.
But the newsletter says we should be careful about that.
It's not about not resting.
Right. Rest is important.
Absolutely.
But don't let the whole weekend be about avoiding your goals.
Yeah, it's about finding that balance.
So it's a golden window, as they call it.
Yeah, a chance to step back from work.
And focus on the bigger picture.
Your vision.
Yeah.
The things that really matter to you.
Working on your vision.
Right.
Not just in your day-to-day tasks.
Exactly.
That's a really good distinction.
It is.
So using the weekend for strategic thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Making progress on those long-term goals.
That often get pushed aside during the week.
Exactly.
And the weekend is great for that.
Yeah.
Fewer meetings, less noise.
More clarity. It's like a fresh start.
It can be.
And if you use it well,
Mm-hmm.
you can set yourself up for a much more productive Monday.
Absolutely.
That's a powerful thought.
It is.
How you spend your weekend can impact the whole week.
And beyond.
Yeah, so we've covered a lot in this deep dive into the Beyond the Code newsletter.
We have.
We talked about the real value of AI
Right.
and this cool new chat with your Claude feature.
Mm-hmm.
And we even got a glimpse into how Quad 3.5 thinks.
Fascinating stuff.
Yeah, and then we finished with some practical tips on weekend productivity.
Hopefully our listeners are leaving with some new ideas.
Yeah, and maybe some new inspiration.
And on that note,
Yeah,
here's a final thought for you.
okay.
How can you apply that vision over job mentality this weekend? What's one small thing you can do
Yeah.
to work towards a bigger goal? Something that will create a positive ripple effect into next week.
That's a great challenge.
It is.
I think I'm going to give that some serious thought.
Me too.
Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive.
It's been a pleasure.
We'll see you next time.
Yeah.